So Nagel's strategy for arguing that death is in fact a bad thing, even though there's no one there to experience the bad directly, is to put death as a bad thing into a larger family of bad things that happen to people where they are not aware of the bad thing. They do not suffer directly because of the bad thing, yet we would still insist that something bad has happened to them. Now he says that all of these cases have something to do with time. And I think that that's true. That is, that to really see it Nagel's way, we have to not only look at a person at any one moment of their lives, but look at a person in terms of possibilities as a living creature oriented towards the future, their future possibilities. When we say that the person who's experienced an injury which has reduced them to the mental state of a contented infant, as Nagel says, the only way that we can make the judgment that something bad has happened to that person is the awareness that things could have turned out differently for them. That is, that they would have experienced other things had they not had the brain injury. Those things presumably being a richer, more flourishing life as a healthy adult rather than as a brain-injured person. The same goes with death, I think, the way that Nagel sees it. That is, that we consider someone's death a bad thing because we can imagine, just as that person when they were alive could have imagined, a future in which they experience more of life's goods. And that is, I think, why he says at the end that it may be that a bad end is in store for us all, because he says, a little bit above that on page 80, acknowledging that we have a normal lifespan, or a sort of a lifespan limit as human beings, he says, a man's sense of his own experience, on the other hand, does not embody this idea of a natural limit. His existence defines for him an essentially open-ended possible future. No matter how long we live, he goes so far as to say if we live to 106, we would still have our notion, or could still have our notion, of an open-ended possible future, which death deprives us of. So we are always being deprived of something in death, according to Nagel. Now there's a couple of other points that we should discuss, and maybe we'll save them for the Wimbus session, having to do with how he proposes to solve the so-called asymmetry problem of the way that we treat differently the non-existence of death with the non-existence of sort of pre-birth, prenatal non-existence. And what is the other problem? Yeah, well, the related problem of how do we, if death is a bad thing, to whom do we assign that bad thing? I think that's more or less been answered by him when he says that we can actually do an injury to a dead man with his example of breaking someone's will. Why is breaking someone's will wrong? He says because it's an injury to the dead man. It's a rather extreme position that you can wrong somebody who's dead, because what you're saying is that you can wrong somebody who no longer exists. So perhaps we should discuss that too. But let me wrap this up.